Like if I just browse it normally, it doesn't even act like I'm suspended until I try to do stuff. I mean, I literally only joined.
Yeah, because if
one.
I'm trying to tag you now, right? But if there's no actual, if I do the app, so I just put Lieutenant Buttstrong and I are talking. Come join us. Does it say why it got suspended?
No, it just says your account has been suspended. Learn more, and I click on that, and it says here are things that you can do, and it doesn't say anything. Like I literally just
really
made the
odd.
account.
Yeah, because so first it was the other username, the LT Buttstrong, or the one on the PS that kind of got
Yeah, like I'm all over the place. Apparently some things that, because they're very harsh on these kind of things. So it's like, you can be suspended for using the same IP account, the same IP address when making a new account. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah, but I don't get what's offensive about, even, because there's nothing offensive, unless it's a swear word in another language that I don't know about.
No, if anything, this is less offensive than the previous one. Anyway, I'll use the last one on Twitter for now, and
it's strange. Yeah, so for the moment,
why can't I just have one thing for everything?
I don't know. So I guess for now, yeah, I'll tag LT Buttstrong on Wednesday, the 22nd of April at 4:14 p.m. We are live with a suspended account as we catch up. We're live, yeah. So, it's time for my weekly dose of heart medicine as Victor tells us about his week.
Honestly, it's been the same
Okay,
as
let's
every
not
week,
take that. Let's not take that tablet. Let's just not ask him the question.
Honestly, it's been a fantastic week, man. Just like every other week.
So this is another thing, great discussion topics. This is why I love you, man. Positive toxicity. So, this is the thing where, you know, when people are like, oh yeah, everything's great, yeah, you should be positive. No! Like, there's a fine line between that kind of, and I actually got thinking about it because I saw one of my friends' Instagram posts, and she popped a message about the difference between hope and validation and just positive toxicity. Like, if someone's down, rather than the kind of, saying, oh, you should feel good, and, blah, blah. Like, it made me more mindful about the fact that, maybe... Yeah, it is okay not to feel okay, especially during this time, like with so much going on. So, I mean, I've felt it for the past couple of days, just kind of a down, but for no particular reason. I don't know about you, but like, yeah, it's just I just get into this weird thing, and then obviously I outthink the situation, but I know that that's not everyone. So like, with the chats we've been having, I'm just trying to, and I won't mention where, and neither will you, but the chats we've been having with a certain group of people, like, I'm trying to just ask questions like every day to give someone something to think about. Hopefully you know what I'm talking. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about in specific. But I thought that was a pretty good way to kind of engage, just some kind of connection between people. I guess it's a good way to kind of go about it. So one of the things I connected with you on this week was like, I thought, yeah, fuck it, you know what? You do whatever you want, and the topic you've chosen is Pokemon. So obviously that's going to be kind of the theme of today, but we're going to be just catching up and talking about random stuff. And this is a production that is kind of, I'm laying the tracks down as the train is moving, because I still haven't got up any dashboard in front of me. I literally just came out of the shower. So the pictures I sent you was from, because I was saying the logs. So we were burning this wood I was burning wood in the garden that our neighbor, who's now moved away. Yeah. Captain's log, yeah. This is my captain's log of my actual log. So the log was out there.
And your neighbor?
No, I got distracted because I saw something on the screen of the game. Yeah, the neighbor kind of literally done some lumberjack stuff, like cut down trees in the garden. There's like huge pieces of wood just in the garden. And I originally went downstairs today to jump rope, like to use I don't know what skipping rope, whatever it's called, just to get some kind of exercise. And I wanted to do it kind of. I do weird things, you know. Like everyone kind of knows this. So I like try to do it like barefoot, in the grass because I know that grounding yourself has a lot of benefits.
Absolutely. I know. I actually heard that some people are recommended to jog barefoot because it's far better for their posture. But
Really?
That's a separate issue. Anyway,
no, that's very interesting because I never thought about that. I wouldn't consider jogging barefoot, but it's probably got a lot of benefits. Yeah.
Yeah, it's apparently like I heard that from a chiropractor. Like a lot of his clients are from joggers, jogging on like pavement and the like.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Sorry,
yeah. Jogging. Are they jogging? No, that's cool. Are they jogging on pavement or are they jogging in the grass?
So yeah, they're jogging on pavement, like the asphalt, just around their house, and it's just bad for their ankles and their knees and their spine. Like it.
So I'm guessing that's doubly bad because obviously the trainers and the actual pavement, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the trainers do help support it, but when you're wearing shoes, your body does tend to rely on them, so your posture is different. If you wear no shoes while you're outside, your body adapts to it, and you stay off the ball of your the heel, for example, is very soft and weak. When you run or walk without your when you run without shoes, you tend to stay off the heel much more, and the posture is better. You land on your muscles more, or there's less strain on your joints, basically.
Yeah, but imagine what that does over time.
Yeah, no, it really adds up one way or the other. Like because he says a lot of them, especially, are like middle-aged people who find out that they're like, oh, I'm gaining weight. That good thing to do is jog, and then they go out and then they feel better, but over time they start having joint pain. So. Yeah, the best way to jog is barefoot or on grass, soft ground.
Yeah, that sounds like very natural as well. Like,
yeah, and it also builds up your foot strength as well. I'm sure you found like being in the garden.
I just like having my feet in the grass because, like, as weird as it sounds, like I mean, you can, everyone has the chance to like kind of look it up and stuff, but there's a lot of benefits to just making contact with the ground. Like there's people now that do all these kind of weird and eccentric. To me, it sounds weird at the moment, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe in the future I'll do one of these things. But people have like beds that are connected with some kind of wire to the earth outside, so it's a natural. I don't know what it does. I don't want to talk about it for fear of just like exposing how little I know about it because I haven't really looked into it. But I've heard that people have this kind of connection with the grass outside or the ground, and it kind of helps them sleep much better and actually heals them. And it kind of speeds up the processes that your body does, like when you're asleep, or it does them more efficiently, not speeds up. So yeah, I believe in grounding. I think there's definitely, I mean, it's not some hocus pocus shit. Like it's actually like there's energy, like from contact, which is something I think now that it's kind of, or it has been overlooked for quite a while. I think now with everything going on, people are kind of changing the way we live almost, which is interesting.
Yeah, a lot of things adapting.
Yes, I mean, all I wanted to do was just do some skipping, just to kind of get the heart rate going a bit, so I don't feel as sludgy, I wanted to do it, on the grass, and I wanted to do it with this jump rope. But then what actually happened was there's so many twigs and pieces of crap and rubbish and stuff. Even though the garden looks a lot nicer because everything's been cut down, there's crap everywhere. And I mean natural crap, so twigs and all these kind of things. And I just had enough. I was like, you know what? I'm going to burn this place down.
I want my crap to be all natural. I like that.
Yeah.
So how did that go? You should do a vlogging thing. Like, here I am remodeling my garden. That'd be interesting.
So it's funny you say that because I am too lazy to do that. However,
don't say lazy. Say unmotivated.
At the moment I don't have the resources to dedicate
emotional resources.
Yeah, I don't have the emotional resources to dedicate the time into more editing and all the. I'm sure if I wanted to, I could. I'm choosing not to. I like the way I word things sometimes. But yeah, to your point, I'm not going to do a vlog. I'm not going to do a vlog. I'm not going to write about it. But I'm going to use something I have at my disposal, which is my phone and the panoramic shot I can take. So there's a corner in our garden when you kind of step in If you visualize it, you know where the gate was, because obviously the gate's not even there anymore. But yeah, you can stand there and take a panoramic shot from left to right. So I don't know, it just kind of came to me in a moment. I was like, I'll just take a panoramic shot every day, because the plan is, normally we get kind of caught up in, yeah, we just want to bang it out. I think I'm going to spend a little bit of time every day just doing a little something. So whether it's burning the leftover logs or breaking the crap from the ground, but just maybe spending an hour. That way I can spend time in, outside first of all, and get some light, get some vitamin D from the sun while we, we have it at the moment. These days. Yeah, get some barefoot action, in the grass, and then at the same time I can cultivate the garden. It's very metaphorical, but at the same time it's very literal.
Cultivate yourself while you're at it. I like it.
Yeah. So one of our neighbors. On the right, which I wrote an extensive Instagram story about on my Fueled by Mo, the food Instagram. I told you the story about the pickle thing. On their side of the fence, they've got like things growing now. So she's growing her own cabbages and these little things. And I'm like, this is the world that needs to come out of everything that's happening now. Like there are going to be a lot of businesses and a lot of things that aren't going to make it out, I don't think, on the other side. But this is where we've got the opportunity to change the dynamic of things as people. Like, what do we really value? What do we need? What needs to be in the new world? Because I don't think it's going to be the same. And it's scary at first. Well, that's a whole different topic. But in terms of what we control, I think, this kind of lets us. I think people are kind of reevaluating, and this sounds kind of morbid, but like. Usually we get caught up in work and we don't have energy when we come home. We can't do the things we like. We put things off. We can't play the games we want. We can't play, with our nephews and nieces or whatever the case is. You don't have the energy because you're kind of drained from work. Yeah. So now that people kind of have more, this is why I think everyone is rich at the moment in their resource of time. Everyone is very rich. You are in full control of how you kind of dictate time. Because you don't have to commute. That's another big chunk of time. So I think people are kind of being more introspective, which is like pretty cool.
That's true. This whole thing is just what we haven't really had in a long time. It's a huge global reset of a lot of systems that have been
that are man-made. Firstly,
yeah, we've been running on momentum for a long time, and now it's like, okay, now we can sit back, relax, take a good long look at what we actually need, like you said. A lot of industries, like apparently, did you hear
they don't need to be there? Oil? There's a lot of things that don't need to be there. Sorry, go on.
Did you hear the oil industry? Oh, just the price of crude oil in America has freaking tanked because they're making too much. Obviously, the demand is for planes, tanks, cars, all over the place. But everyone's overall staying at home. No one's traveling. No planes are in the air, and they can't keep up with it. There is too much supply for the decreased demand, and they physically can't store it anymore. They are paying people to take it off their hands. It's insane.
That's crazy, man. Because that's very like, it makes me feel all tingly, around my cheeks and shit. Because the fact of the matter is, I think in our lifetimes or in the past 100 years, we've used up more oil than humanity has used in. I think since the beginning of time. Yeah, because I'm no expert. I'm not a geologist. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just me. But from what I've heard, word on the street is that we've used a lot of these fossil fuels, and there's this worry about fossil fuels coming to an end and all the rest of it. But there is always going to be enough, so long as we use the amount that the Earth gives us. And that sounds like some hippy dippy green piece shit, but the Earth is like the way they source it. There's always. It takes thousands of. It's a long-term thing.
Yeah.
It'll take a long time to kind of make these, minerals and shit and fossils and whatever else. But it's there. It's being produced. It's just the rate of consumption that we've had in the past, I think, 50 or 100 years has actually been more than any time in the history of man. Like, imagine
so many things. Yeah, in the last 100 years, like, humanity's gone through a massive upheaval in the last 100 years. The last 20 years alone, more than. Like you said, anything else really.
It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, this is good. So now you're telling me that they're giving away oil because they've got pretty much no use for it.
Yeah, well, not giving it away. Well, essentially, they're paying people who can store it. It's not just like you can go and like, hey, can I have a barrel of oil for free? Like I think the minimum you can take is 1,000 barrels of oil, and you have to supply the barrels. But the actual crude oil, it's tanked, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I think this is introspective. So this is what I was saying. Where I mentioned it like maybe it was last week or the week before. That we're kind of living through history, like in a sense that we are shaping it, and we're always and to your point, I think your response was we're always living history, which is true, but we're just not awake about it enough. I think everyone is a lot more in tune with kind of what they want and what they don't want coming out of this thing, and that's really cool. That's I think something to be hopeful about.
Yeah, one of the things I'm hopeful for that a lot of industry should have been doing to begin with is proper legislation and systems for working at home where applicable. If not every single day, at least once or twice a week to allow flexibility, work-life balance. And so many industries have proven that they can, in fact, make that happen if push comes to shove. And a lot of people are realizing that now. So when they have to go back to work, they'll be like, wait, why am I doing this if I can work from home?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and that's the other thing. I think the stranglehold of like that kind of a stringent system of whatever work economy, whatever you want to call it. Like I think
obsolete systems, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very old practice, but like the new technologies even now in terms of like marketing that I'm aware of, like companies are pulling out funding from advertising now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that also loosens the grip on people, like how we're constantly kind of dominated by our phones and the things we have in front of us, and like I mentioned, since Thursday I've kind of been spending way too much time on my phone, like in the morning. But in general, I think they're pulling funding from these companies to like spend money on advertising, which kind of allows people to just. It's kind of like withdrawing from drugs. That I wouldn't know that feeling. Do you know what I mean? But I'm saying like it's probably what it's similar to.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Is that we constantly have these things stimulating us, and then now it's kind of like okay, we're kind of being weaned off it. But then now people are kind of forced to spend time at home or do their gardens or do the things they've been putting off, and it kind of like going back around to the point was it sounds kind of morbid, but now that people are spending more time at home and they have more time on their hands, they're richer with their resources. Do you think it kind of
they're reconnecting with their family and friends. They're finding what really matters.
Yes, so I think that's what I was kind of trying to get at, is like we're kind of figuring out what actually matters, because when we had that obsolete system before, you'd come home and you'd pretty much be dead. Like you wouldn't have anything left to give to the things you want to give to.
And I'm hoping after this, people will realize the whole system will prioritize what should be prioritized much better.
Is the actual people.
Yeah. They won't just allow themselves to be corralled anymore.
So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Do you think that one final thing about this kind of subtopic? I was thinking about while I was in the garden, and that's another thing that was really cool. Like obviously I had my phone with me because I need to know what time it is. But I wasn't really using it, so I was just kind of trying to be active with whatever I was doing. Which can be a struggle sometimes. But I just started to think, and you kind of just let your brain just go and just like, okay, where is it going? What's it thinking about? Let's just watch it. It allows you to kind of distance yourself a bit. So obviously, I think this is like one of the things people find hard about also meditating, is that obviously they don't know what to do, what you're supposed to be doing. Or let's say, I don't really like the word mindful, I guess, but like just aware of like what's around you and being present almost.
Yeah.
I think people kind of find it hard to meditate because you don't know what to do. There's no like, unless you go out of your way to figure it out. Even then, it's very hard because your brain works a certain way. But I think one of the easiest ways that I don't practice it as much anymore. But one of the things that helped me was like just see your thoughts. Like you're gonna see things pop up, and usually we have that instant kind of thing at our fingertips now where you just want to Google stuff. But when you kind of don't have that, you kind of let those thoughts just run their course and don't. I describe it to. I compare it to like being on the side of the road, and if your thoughts are cars, just watch the cars come and go, and kind of distance yourself from them, and kind of realize that you aren't the thoughts. And then the more you kind of practice that, you can you have more control over the traffic. It sounds really strange, I know, but that's the metaphor that helped me kind of make sense of it. Whereas we kind of think we've got to address like each and everything. Like, even when I started spending 2 or 3 minutes a day, like that really had like a big impact on on just my week, really. So it's crazy to think, like, just being a bit more aware can kind of have that effect.
Absolutely, just a bit more present because it's so easy to just get bogged down in the day-to-day stuff that. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it shouldn't be a priority. Like, oh, I need to take care of the dishes. I need to take care of I don't know, your phone and your social obligations. Which again, they shouldn't be obligations. It should be like, oh, I want to spend time with my friends. I want to talk to whoever's on Facebook. Oh, I want to keep an eye on my classmates or whatever. Like, it's just a mindset getting into it. And
I
even
think
then, you should always just.
I think no, just before I forget, like what you're saying about social obligations, I think that's another thing. I'm trying to find. I want two things. I want one to be available to anyone at any time.
Mm,
Like if someone sends me a message, I want to be able to engage that thing, because like one of the things I've kind of been reading about really successful like business people is like, they often get asked about like the work-life balance, and then what the answer is like there is no balance. There's work-life integration. So obviously, if they want to spend time with their kids, you gotta like integrate that time with, something. Or if you want to spend time in the jacuzzi, maybe make those calls while you're kind of chilling. But it's more about like kind of integrating. So at the moment, yeah, there's two because you mentioned social obligations. Like that's something I struggle with at the moment because I want to be able to be there for everyone at all times of the day, but at the same time, that can be pervasive into other things. Like it can, if I stop to have a conversation for like even 10 minutes, that's that concentration broken from doing the work that I was doing. Like it's really weird, but I'm finding it hard. So I want to have both things, but I can't.
It's effective time management, really.
Yeah, so maybe set aside like a specific time in the evening where I just check everything, like emails, check my messages.
That makes sense. Or like 5 minutes before lunch to do that, just so it doesn't have to be one big block. Like whatever works for the person, because everyone's different. But it is just effectively managing yourself for available resources, which is usually time.
Time, I'm telling you, it's so undervalued, and I'm glad everyone's got more of it now. Because now you're kind of in control. Like I don't know if people understand what I'm saying when I say that, but it is the most valuable resource. The only reason we go to make money is so that we can afford time to do the things we actually want to do.
That's ultimately what people are giving you money for, is your time. You are giving your time to them, and they have to reimburse you for that. So people think, oh, money is very important, but like,
money is a symptom. Money is a side effect. Money is it's not the root thing. It's an effect.
Yeah, it's a tool. So many people get focused on the money. So why do you need it? Why do you need the money?
Yeah, that's true, man. That's so true. That's so true. Even with the charity thing, like I've noticed, like even if I make like everyone can give. I think that's the key as well to living, is just giving a bit back. Even if it's like 5%, like if you make £5 or $5 or whatever your currency is, even if you give away 5%, you're good with maths. What's 5% of £5?
25 pence.
Okay, let's go to the yeah. So if you give away 25 pence, cents, whatever, you can afford that from your £5, right? In the same way, if you're making like 50 grand a year, and you give away 5% of that, it's still only a small number, but it's a significant number. So like, even the mentality about like money's the root of all, like, no, it's just like a gun. A gun is not the root of all evil. It's how this tool is used. But yeah, we're like opening our minds with this conversation, which is good. But let's kind of rein it back into the what's going to happen after this whole situation's over. So while I was doing my kind of thinking processes in the garden whilst I was clearing up, like one of the things I was like, I really want this to remain is the onsen culture in Japan, because I never thought about it. I'm like, all these, some businesses are closing down for good, like they ain't gonna make it through the rain. But I hope the culture kind of remains, because I think it will. I'm pretty sure it will. It's a way of the life of their lives over there. But there's one particular onsen in Tokyo. If you ever go, if you ever get a chance to check it out, it's called Oedo Onsen Monogatari in Tokyo Bay.
What does Monogatari mean?
Monogatari is like I think it's like festival.
Okay.
Oedo is I think the feudal era Japan name. I think it's another name for Japan. Oedo. Onsen is the hot springs. Monogatari is, I think it is like festival, because when you go inside, oh my god, it's like Disneyland for people that just want to relax. So after getting off the flight, it's the first place we went to. It's really beautiful. You go inside, you get your robe, and you go into the inner kind of area. So obviously you don't pay for anything there. They just give you a wrist little thing, and then you kind of everything inside the building like you want to buy. So it's kind of like a little hall area in the middle, and it's kind of like almost like a festival type feel. So there's like you can play arcade games. There's like traditional games. There's like whack-a-mole type stuff. There's all these like little things going on, and it's just a giant pajama party because everyone's just wearing their kimonos and just walking around, and there's like mini izakayas inside, so they're like little pubs. So if you want to stop for a snack, you can have some yakitori, some meat on a stick, or you can grab a beer or whatever you want to do. Like you can just kind of chill, and and then the kind of outer layers of the structure, the place, they have the separate men and women kind of bathing areas, which is the hot springs. And honestly, it's one of the nicest feelings that I can't describe. Like it just feels so good. Like you're just there.
Sounds amazing.
It's like oh my god, if that's my vision of heaven.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like it was so nice, especially after like a long flight, and you get there, and it's just amazing. If you get a chance to check out, like I want to do a tour of Japan and just go to like do how people do pub crawls. I want to do an onsen crawl, so I just want to go to every different type of onsen, because there's some that are in the mountains, like natural hot springs where you just like it might be freezing at higher altitude, but the water coming out from the earth is really warm, so you can literally be in the middle of like snow, but you're in a hot bath. Like it's crazy. But yeah, these are the things that I'm excited about, man. I hope especially this one place was really nice, because you could even if you stay there for like too late, you can just stay overnight. So that's what we ended up doing, and we kind of we just stayed there overnight, and then in the morning they just charge you according to whatever you racked up on your bill.
That's fair.
Yeah, so they just have a relaxation room where you can kind of just get a reclining chair and you can just go sleep there if you want, or you can do whatever. It's just like a giant chilled out pajama party.
I do love the sound of that.
It is so nice. But yeah,
show me someday.
I'm gonna I'll send you some pictures as well later on. But that's one of the things that I hope survives after this whole thing is said and done. But one thing that I'm pretty sure will survive is the Pokemon Company, man. Like I think
easily.
there's been some changes to the app that they use, Pokemon Go, that I think Dips, aka Nightwolf, was telling us about yesterday while I was streaming. So he was saying that raids are kind of different.
Yeah, so many changes for working from home, which is great. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I mean this is good. I mean you'd know more about it than I would.
They because people can't go out. Normally, you get your resources from spinning Pokestops and visiting stuff like that. They give out not free, but they're premium boxes, which are like 200 Pokecoins or whatever they're called, gold coins. They give away like in a bundle of like say 50 Pokeballs, 50 Great Balls, 50 Ultra Balls for like just one coin.
Yeah.
So you just like hey, it's essentially free, and they rotate them, and they double the distance you can go to gym. That you can interact with Poke gyms, so that you can socially distance yourselves. They're trying to integrate raids, so you can do them from home without even leaving the house. A lot of stuff that you can do that attracts Pokemon to you instead. They've doubled the length that those items are in effect. So they're really trying hard, which is nice.
It's nice, and one of the things I always joke about with you guys is that I just wish this app would just end, because it's just shit.
It's still not exactly a game.
Oh, I didn't once use the word game. I don't know if anyone noticed, but I've never used the word game to describe Pokemon Go, because it is an application of it's an application of their power over your mind and distracting you. Oh my god, there's a story I have about Nightwolf. I don't think he'll mind sharing it. So when we were in Amsterdam a couple of years back, I think it was 2017. So it was just so. Coincidentally enough, it was around this time of year. It was exactly a week ago, 3 years back. We were in Amsterdam, in Holland, and like he's mega into. So for anyone that doesn't know, like he's mega into Pokemon Go. He's really into Pokemon, and Yeah, I remember one evening, like literally just standing next to one of the. We'd all kind of gone our own ways for the evening. We just needed some, it's time to breathe, like go outside and just have a walk.
Yeah.
Do our own thing for a little bit. So I was on one side of the canal, and then I see him walking across from the other side. I swear to God, he was coming out the red light district. But I also swear that he had no idea what was going on because he was playing Pokemon Go. He had the app on, and I remember talking to him afterwards. And I knew like what was like. It's clearly obvious, like, because you can see you literally there's these really weird alleyways that you go through, and you can't look left or right. Like you almost have to kind of just look down, like if you don't want to see the things you would see in the red light district of Amsterdam, which I'm sure people they kind of know what the deal is over there.
What would you see, Moran? What would you see?
Well, I mean, if you weren't looking at the pavement, they actually look up, or if you weren't looking at your phone playing. Again, sorry, my bad. I apologize. I'll correct myself. If you were using the Pokemon Go app, you wouldn't notice these things. But that's like beside the point. Like it's just one of those things that takes away your ability to kind of perceive what's actually going on. It's just like a matrix that it puts in front of you. But then again, that's like my perception of it. I don't really use the app anymore. I've tried it. It's fun. It's fun for a little while. I used it for like a month.
Yeah.
And the answer to your question is boobs, all kinds of boobs.
In the app, in the Pokemon Go app, right? That's what.
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know because I don't use the app, so I don't know, man.
That's something. That's a new update they made.
Okay. Maybe I'll have to check it out. But So the conversation we had it was already evening, but like kind of when we go back to the hotel was like, how was your walk, this, that, and the other. I was like, have you seen like the red light district yet? And he's like, no. I was like, dude, you walked out the red light district. I was staring at him. He didn't even notice me, but he was literally just he might as well have walked past me. He was on the other side of the canal, and I was just kind of sitting there, people watching, and just kind of just chilling. And yeah, it's just one of those things that it just kind of distracts you. But I guess it depends on like who's playing it or whatnot. But yeah, it's good that they've taken the measures to kind of adapt to the current situation. But
yeah, like they don't have to. A lot of companies don't have to, but they want to. I mean, it's a good business model as well. Ultimately,
yeah,
it feels like they're putting effort into making people feel safer and stay at home. Like they understand the importance.
Yeah,
a lot of companies are just like, oh, the bottom line, oh, money.
No, this is good. This is what I want to kind of die out in the kind of in terms of businesses. This is what I want to be kind of weeded out is the people that actually don't give a shit about the people.
Yeah.
Because I think I don't know, man. We're just in a place where we have a lot of control over things. And the thing is, a lot of the times we might not see it that way. But again, it's just one of those perception things. The actual what was I going to say?
I'd have to call it there, and hopefully I can get that Twitter thing sorted out.
Okay, yeah, cool. No, I was just going to say.
Anyway.
I was just going to say, because I was just thinking about Pokemon, because that was supposed to be the topic today, but we covered it here and there.
That's huge. Yeah, like we touched on it a bit, but not the actual subject there. We can definitely bring more into next week because I feel like it's relevant again in a way. I don't know. It's always
Are they making another game anytime soon?
They just brought out Sword and Shield, so likely they'll probably bring out like Ultra Sword and Shields within the next couple of years. But that's
right, yeah, that's true.
We're on Generation 8, and I think the anime is in it's in the Alola region, which was the previous games. It was like basically Pokemon Hawaii.
That's the one I didn't finish. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, as we kind of wrap things up, I want to ask you a question. What do I do with my Pokemon cards that I've kind of collected over the years and in my childhood? Because there's certain ones I don't want to, like the base set and stuff, like all the stuff we grew up as with, like, kind of looking through these things. I don't want to get rid of them. But what about the ones from later sets where you're just like, I just don't want this, I don't need this. Maybe I can give it to someone or sell it. Like, what would you suggest I do? What do I do with these things?
There are specialist sites for things like that. There's like subreddits, there are trading cards. Like Pokemon is probably the most popular card game to trade. It's been around for a long time. Up there with Magic the Gathering and definitely more popular than Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's still going quite strong here. Um, but yeah, find a specialist. You can find out what each individual card is worth, and it depends how much time you want to put into it. If you just want to say get rid of them, just go on like Reddit or something and say, "Hi, I have these cards. Does anyone want them individually, or do you want the set?" Then send it all off. If you just want to get rid of them and give them to a good home, find someone who cares about them and just send it off as a box. If you want to sell them and take the time put into it, find the value, sell them individually or in little sets, or it's like say here's a box of energy cards.
Yeah.
Just that's time involved. It's not generally worth it unless you have something really rare.
I mean, if it makes someone really happy, I'd rather do that than get paid for it. But
yeah,
I did
exactly.
something similar before, so I'd given it to like a little nephew abroad. I sent him a little care package with all these like. Obviously, I didn't give him the good stuff, but I gave him like. I gave him like. Well, I did. It's not that I didn't give him shinies and stuff. I gave him good cards, but like I gave him like duplicates of things I already had. So I kind of got, it made him very happy. And at the same time, I kind of took care of, a bit of an excess in terms of Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
I think the main issue is not finding these specialist sites. For me, is just going through everything and seeing what we have and what we don't have.
Yeah. So if you want to take the time, you can. You might find something valuable. If you just want to get rid of them, just keep what you want. Set aside the rest. Take a picture of the lot, maybe. Say, look, this is what I got. Does anyone want it?
Yeah.
That's the least effort involved for making sure it goes to a good home.
Coolio, I appreciate the insight into figuring this out. I think I will kind of just go through them at some point. I've got a box somewhere. What do you think we should do for next week's topic?
I think we could go into Pokemon a bit more. I mean, I'd like to talk about it for your game.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. So, I mean, there's like you said, there's so many things to talk about. I mean, the cards, the TV show. I've been to a Pokemon Center, like a real life Pokemon Center.
Oh, cool.
And not the pop-up one they did in London either. The actual, like, there was one in Osaka. But yeah, that's something I'd like to talk about because it was a very unique experience.
I'd like to hear about that.
Save
it next week.
So let's do Pokemon as a whole next week. Maybe I'll make some notes. I didn't make any notes for this week.
I mean, we can go back and talk about how we got started or our first Pokemon game or something. Or
I know. Yeah, I've got a really few really precious memories of how I kind of got into it. So that'll be cool. I'd like to share that. But yeah, tonight we got our episode from last week coming out, which is why we play video games. So that's what we talked about last week. It's going to be available on YouTube tonight at 10 p.m. BST. So if you convert that over into Eastern time, I believe it's like 5 p.m. And then there's again, I learned yesterday there's 3 different time zones in America, so everyone just needs to kind of just convert it over and figure it out. But it was one that was a labor of love. We put a lot of kind of thought into that one. We made some notes and we discussed a lot, and I think it's very important. I think it's important.
Heartfelt. Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to feed into next week as well when we start talking about, Pokemon games. It's going to be very similar.
Yeah, so that's available it'll be about 5 hours from now. But in about 3 hours, I'll be streaming some more Last of Us, which is what I've been doing every night. That's been fun.
Yeah.
And at the bare minimum, I get to go through the game, which is it's amazing. Getting an hour to just play games. Wow, so much resources in terms of time.
It's just nice to have that time for yourself.
If you guys enjoyed hanging out, we will be here again next week at roughly the same time, talking about Pokemon. So we will see you then.
Have fun, guys. Stay safe.